Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me is Dana Diaria, co-CIO at Envestnet PMC, to discuss the impact of monetary and fiscal stimulus. Dana, it's great to meet with you. Welcome to Trade Talks.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
And Dana, what are your thoughts around the massive stimulus that is coming as the economy is at the verge of reopening?
Yeah, it's certainly on everyone's mind. We at Envestnet sort of sit at the junction of a lot of different economic views. We work with so many asset managers and advisors, et cetera. And I can tell you that the big question that comes from this, of course, is, are we going to have inflation stemming from all this stimulus? So, and we could talk a little bit about that. I would say that with the specter of taxes on the way and the infrastructure spending that's coming with those taxes is more lagged, it's not a lot of concern about deep embedded inflation at this point.
So let's start with the stimulus checks that we know are already out there, the COVID checks that were paid out from March 11th to the 17th, and take a look at some of that data. Where are you seeing that money going to?
Yeah, so Envestnet's Yodlee unit uses de-identified data to kind of look at where spending is. And it's some pretty interesting insights. One is that taxes are one of the big places that people are spending their COVID checks this time around. We know last time around, directed brokerage, so opening stock accounts and trading equities was one of the big things. This time around, taxes is one of the places. We also see restaurant and travel up, but interestingly, not sort of commuting type, ride share, that sort of thing, still not up, but travel is up. And that, of course, leads us to believe, of course, that as expected, there's going to be a surge in interest in services sector, which actually does sort of play in a little bit to the inflation potential to a certain extent.
And let's talk more about that as it relates to higher taxes. What do you think the impact of monetary and fiscal stimulus will be with the offset of higher taxes?
Yeah, so that is the big question. And I think we're going to get some insight on that this week. We obviously have earnings week starting off, and companies are going to be both reporting earnings and also giving us guidance to what to expect going forward. So I think it'll be interesting because we will learn somewhat about what we should expect to price in relative to tax increases coming. Obviously, the proposal is a big hike in corporate taxes, but also changes to international taxes, which make the hike even higher than it actually appears, right? So I think it's going to be interesting to look this week. We have some of the major money centers reporting this week and see what their guidance is.
Well, Dana, I think the million-dollar question is, do you think we are a long way away from what the final bill will look like?
Oh, yes. Yeah, no, for sure, Jill. I think there's not only obviously Republican opposition to this, but even a lot of the Democrats are not necessarily on board with all aspects of it, right? So you have concerns about ranging from it's not enough, we need more spending, to the corporate tax that's being proposed is too high, and we need to come back in line so we remain competitive with overseas tax rates, to we want a SALT tax reduction, cap, and or put back, excuse me, the deduction that was there. So when you figure all of that kind of jockeying in, and then again the Republican opposition, we are absolutely a long way from seeing where this is going to land.
I feel like we say this every quarter, but guidance is certainly going to be interesting this time around.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think companies are trying to price in what the impact will be for them of what they're seeing, and obviously there's the tax increase, but there's also infrastructure spending. So there will be some winners with this, right? To the extent infrastructure, one of the big winners, renewables. There's a lot of money in the plan around, increasing use of renewable energy. Electric vehicles get a big chunk. So there's certainly going to be some interesting winners to this. But as you say, since we're a long way from where the plan is going to be, it's going to be a while before companies really can price in and the stock market can price in what this impact is going to be.
All right, Dana, appreciate the insight. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks, and thanks for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.
Thank you.